Hi, greetings, friends. Jacque Howard here. Thank you so much for taking a couple minutes of your time to spend it with me. Excuse me. Even as I deal with the seasonal allergies and this Hurricane Ian that is showing its effects here in New Jersey. So a big shout out to all those folks who have been impacted by this. And also think about this from a civic standpoint. When we consider about how we redevelop and do things in the future, we have to consider funding. What's it going to be look like? What's going to look like when we do rebuilding and so forth? And that leads into voting and the importance of being available to vote, knowing your voting rights, being civically engaged to do the voting process. And here in Mercer County, New Jersey, New Jersey's capital county, I have Paula Sollami Covello, who's going to come on, and she's going to be talking about her office. So she is the county clerk, and she's going to be talking about the services that are in her office. But most importantly, she's going to be talking to all of the folks in New Jersey, especially about the voting process, some of the different things that they can be doing. You're about 30 days out from the elections happening November 8th. So what are some of the things that should be on your mind, et cetera? So I'm going to bring Paula on, but before I do that, again, anything that's dealing with voting and politics, Bridge the Vote, or any of the affiliates of my program, we are not telling you which way you should vote. We are encouraging you to be part of the process. So with that being said, I'm bringing on Paula Sollami Covello. Paula, thank you so much for a couple minutes of your time this rainy Monday morning in New Jersey, about 30 days out from the election. How are you today?
Thank you. Yes, I'm well. Thank you. I made it in despite the rain.
Great.
It's good
Now,
to
when
see
we
you.
talk about making it in and making it into your office, can you share a bit about what your position is, the title, how you get the job, what your office does, and then let's swing it into talking about the actual general elections that are coming up November 8th.
Sure. Thanks. So, I'm the county clerk. I have been elected to this position. I'm in my fourth time, and I enjoy it very much because we serve customers and the residents of Mercer County. So it's a nice job to interact with people. My office offers passport services. So if people need a passport, which means they want to travel throughout outside of the country, you can come to our office in Trenton at 209 South Broad Street with the proper ID, and we can issue you a passport. We have late hours on Wednesday evenings for that. And, if you get a passport card, which is a lot less expensive than a regular passport book, of course, it has less limited usage. But it's considered real ID. So you don't need to go to the DMV to get your driver's license with the real ID star. You can get a real ID right in the county clerk's office as a passport card. It's only $30. So I think that's a really good thing people don't know. And it's a lot less time to wait to get it. So we recommend that you do that. We also offer notary public services. Now, we don't notarize documents, but we'll make you a notary. If you want to become a notary, you can do that you apply through the Department of Treasury online, and then my office will swear you in and you become a notary public. And we of course record all the properties in Mercer. So if you buy or sell a property in our county, we record it in our office.
All right,
So
Paula, so I want to touch on something because I think most of us have heard of a notary and what they do and have needed them from time to time, but I don't know if anyone has ever really mentioned to me about what that process is. So I'm going to kind of go off into weeds a little bit. And can you talk about what that process is like and why someone would consider being a notary public?
yeah, sure. A notary public is a person that can swear to your signature that you've appeared before them and that you are accurately stating that you are who you say you are when you sign an official document and you seal that document. So, to become a notary, you have to be at least 18 years old and you have to live or work in New Jersey. And if you apply in Mercer, you have to live or work in Mercer County. And you apply to it through the State Division of Treasury, Department of Treasury online. And then, it'll walk you through the steps online. You fill out the application, and then it emails one of your legislators. And in Trenton, the legislators are, the congresswoman is Bonnie Watson Coleman. Then the senator is Shirley Turner. Assemblyman is Anthony Varelli. And the other assemblywoman is Verlena Reynolds Jackson. And you email one of them to verify that you are a resident in the county. It's just something that's required. And then once they they verify that, you will get an email back from Treasury saying, okay, you're going to get a commission from the state now to become a notary. Once that comes to you in the mail, this like card, you come to the county clerk's office and we swear you in, and we record you so that you are now officially a notary, and you can go out and you can, certify documents and certify the signatures of the people that sign. And the reason that that is important is because it's a legal process, but by doing it, you can actually make a little bit of money. You can charge for your travel. You can't charge for the notary. I think the law requires you to. I think the maximum might be $5 to charge to notarize the document, but you can charge for your travel. But it's just a good thing to have, and many people are always looking for notaries, so it's nice to be able to be able to notarize something.
Well, I want to tell you, you've given me this unbelievable nugget that I didn't know the process of. I mean, for whatever reason, I've only thought about it only as maybe affiliated with someone who has a particular type of career path, like to be a notary public. But now that you say that, I'm thinking that would be a nice little addition to a local business or a side hustle for some people, especially someone who may be seasoned or retired. They may be able to do this on the side and be able to offset some of their expenses via taxes, et cetera, like travel, et cetera. So, wow, that's pretty good. I do want to back up and talk a bit about the passport and the card and what you said about the real ID. For folks who don't know what the real ID is, can you explain that as well?
Yes, well, starting in 2023, I think it's October of 23, you're going to need to have a real ID to enter into federal buildings at all. You can't just use your driver's license. You're going to need a real ID, which is a better form of identification. And you're also going to need it to travel within the United States. Not like a driver's license alone isn't going to be enough. It has to be a real ID. It's a higher level of identification because following 9/11, the federal government put this into place, saying this is going to be required down the road. So many people are going to the Department of Motor Vehicles Division to get this special license because it has a star in the corner. You have to present additional identification, like your birth certificate and other forms of ID to get this. But we can give it to you through the passport because that's considered real ID. So if you have a passport or a passport card, you've got real ID. You can go into federal buildings with it and you can travel domestically with it. And it's the size of a driver's license. So it can fit in your wallet. It's a really nice thing. And it's much less expensive than a passport. So a passport book, you can use that. That's $110, to travel internationally to get a passport book. But for the passport card, it's $30. So
and you also get the same services as well. So you can have the passport card and travel as well.
Well, but it has limited usage. It doesn't let you go overseas on a plane. It only lets you go to border countries by driving. So if you want to drive to Canada or Mexico with that, you can. But that's pretty much it's a limited usage, but it's real ID. And also like if you want to go on a cruise and you need something and you're not going to get off the boat, you can get onto the islands, like some of the Caribbean islands with it. But it's, like I said, limited usage, but it's very good to have. I recommend getting it. I'm getting one when my passport, I have a passport that's 10-year passport book. When it expires, I'm getting that. I'm going to get both. So because I think it's great to be able to have that right in your wallet. So if I go to a federal building, I can go in. Or if I want to fly to Florida, which is, where my in-laws live, I can get on an airplane with this without having to go bring a passport book or, all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. You know what? So I am going to surprise you, which I rarely do on the air. I'm going to surprise you and say I'm going to put together a campaign called the Real ID. The Real ID campaign, and I'm going to follow up with you, and then we can kind of get an idea about how many people know about this and don't know about this, and how we can encourage people. Real ID, folks, $30. You can get it at the Mercer County Clerk's office, 209 South Broad Street. Wednesdays is a late night. I'm speaking with Paula Sollami Covello, who is the elected county clerk. Paula, I want to transition now And I want you to talk about the upcoming election that's happening November 8th, and talk about some of the vote by mail options that people have, and what people should start thinking about doing 30 days out from the election, how they can start preparing.
Okay, great. Well, yes, the election is coming up. It's November 8th. And the exciting thing for the city of Trenton is that it's going to be a citywide race as well. So mayor and all of the council seats are up for election. We also have congressional candidates. The Congress is up, and the local for the county commissioners. Freeholders are now county commissioners, so they're up as well. They changed the name of those. So the race is exciting. Vote by mail ballots are actually going out right now. From what I know, we started mailing them out according to law on September 24th, and Trenton's went out Saturday and today. So they're hitting houses right now. And if you still want to get a vote by mail ballot and you're not normally someone who gets one, you can apply to receive one just by going on to mercercounty.org, which is the county clerk's website. Go on there and you can click and fill out a vote by mail application and get it into our office, and we'll mail you a ballot. The other great thing is you can walk into 209 South Broad Street, my office, right now. If you want to vote today and you don't want to wait, you can walk in, apply for a vote by mail ballot right here, and we'll hand you a ballot. So you'll get it right when you come in, and you can just drop it outside in front of our building at the drop box. So we have these drop boxes throughout the entire county. And instead of going through the mail to return your vote by mail ballot, which you can do, and it's fine to mail it, but if you want to, you can go to one of these drop boxes, put your vote by mail ballot in there, and it will be picked up by a Board of Elections member. It'll go right back to where it's going to be counted. I recommend using the drop boxes because you don't have to go through the mail, and there could be all kinds of delays with that. So we have one right in front of the county clerk's office. There's one in front of Trenton High School. There is one at the Henry J. Austin Center, and there's a fourth one in front of City Hall in Trenton, on the clerk's side, the back end. So there are 4 Dropbox locations in Trenton alone, but you can drop your vote by mail ballot in any county Dropbox. So if you're working in Ewing, you could go to the one at Parkside Avenue. There's one right at the old youth detention center next to the ShopRite in Ewing, 1440 Parkside, and drop it there. You can take it to Hamilton. As long as it's within Mercer County, you can drop your vote by mail ballot at any of those drop boxes. So I strongly recommend it. I think it's, like I said, it's easier because it doesn't have to go through the U.S. Postal Service, and it could be delayed coming back. But there are other ways you can mail it back, and we pay for your postage. So that's a great option. And if you really want to hand it to somebody, you could do that too. You can bring it right to the Board of Elections office, and they're located on Spruce Street, right in the same parking lot as the farmers market. So if you go into the farmers market on Spruce Street, to right hand side, there's a building, that's the Board of Elections, and you can walk in your vote by mail ballot. So that's a great ways to do it.
Paula, you covered so much, man. That was fantastic. And again, I appreciate your time. I'm speaking with Paula Sollami Covello, who is the Mercer County Clerk. We're talking about the November 8th, 2022 elections that are happening, specifically about the ones in Trenton, the Trenton municipal general elections that are happening. The easiest thing for folks to do, as far as making sure that they're registered to vote and things like that. People are 30 days out now. So what should folks have on their mind?
The voter registration deadline is October 18th. You can't vote if you are not registered. So make sure you're registered, because all of these things, like I'm saying about applying for a vote by mail, all great, but you got to be a registered voter. You also go to vote.nj.gov. I love that site, because then you just click on Mercer County and it gives you voter registration. It gives you an application to vote by mail. It has a little feature there. You can track your ballot as it goes through the process. It's a phenomenal site. It's called vote.nj.gov. So you can, like I said, make sure you're registered, and then you can vote. Now, the other thing is you can vote early, or you can vote on election day. So if you don't like vote by mail, and some people don't like it, and I get that, then you can vote. We have early voting now, and in Trenton, the site is at the firehouse on Perry Street. So you can go there and you can vote from October 29th to November 6th. Those are the dates for early voting. So you can go in there from 10 to 6 and you can vote. And you can use a voting machine. And then if you really don't like that option, you can vote on your regular poll on election day. So there are lots of options to make sure that you can vote. And I think it's so important. Like I said, every race in Trenton is up, every office, all council seats, and the mayor. So, it's important to have a voice.
Absolutely. Paul, and I'm glad that we have so many options for voting, whether it's in person, voting by mail, early voting, etc. I have to do this because I'm sure that there are some folks who are still apprehensive for whatever reason about the process. Can you just share maybe a location where folks can go if they're having some concerns or thoughts about the voting process, or about their particular situation while trying to cast the vote?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then, so we have 3 offices in Mercer County that run voting, and so my office is the county clerk's office. You can always write to me or call our office at 609-989-6494. There also is the registration office. So if you want to call them, that's like if you have a problem with your registration or you moved and you want to change your address, then you need to call them. And that number is 609-989-6770. And then the last one is the Board of Elections. And that office covers everything else. Poll workers, if you want to be a poll worker, which we need, they pay $300 for election day and we need poll workers. They also handle the polling locations. If you feel like it's not a good site, you want to complain about it or something like that. And they also count the paper ballots. So the Board of Elections is the one that counts those paper ballots. So that office is, they have a new number now. They just gave us, but I'll just give you the one 609-989-6. You know what? Let me pull it up. I gotta pull it up.
Sure, Paul. While you're doing that, I'm going to do.
You can email them at boardofelections@mercercounty.com.
Okay, Board of Elections at mercercounty.com. Awesome.
.org.
Okay. All right. And Paul, I'd like for you to pull that number up because I'll add that as well. And while you're doing that, again, folks, I'm speaking with Paula Sollami Covello, who is the Mercer County Clerk. Long and short of it, it's an elected position. She's had it for several terms. Her office assists in lots of things, issuing passports, certifying notary republic, if that's something you'd like to do, but also issuing real ID and all things to do with elections. In particular, we're talking about early voter registration, vote by mail, and several different options that the county has in place for anyone who wants to vote. Additionally, we're about 30 days out from the general elections, in particular the municipal elections happening in the city of Trenton, which is a full slate, meaning that's the at-large candidates, the ward council candidates, and the mayor as well. And about 30 days out, you should really be making sure that you are, one, registered to vote, that you know where you're able to vote, and that you know what the options are for voting. You can go over to the website, mercercounty.org, and you'll see all the details, and you'll be able to go through the menus and click on all of them. But Paul has given me a few numbers here for you to consider. If you need to call her office directly, it's 609-989-6494. And if you have questions about registration, 609-989-6770. And the Mercer County Board of Elections phone number. Paula, why don't you give me that new number there?
It's 609-989-6522. And if you go on mercercounty.org, you can also apply to be a poll worker there on their website as well. So that you definitely want to reach out to that. We need poll workers.
All right, fantastic. All right, so Paula, thank you so much for a couple of minutes of your time. In a couple of weeks, I hope to loop back around and you can kind of give everybody else another final push and say, hey, look, November's right here. Do your due diligence and be civically engaged. I'll have you come back, okay?
Would love to. Thank you so much for having me. I think it's great. We're spreading the word.
Excellent. Fantastic. And there you
Thank
have it,
God.
folks. Another opportunity to chat and to see some of the different things that are happening, not only in my sphere and in my world, but also yours as well. These individuals and these humans have a passion to do things to build a better community, oftentimes a skill set that I don't have, which is why I'm enamored with that. With that being said, make sure you reach out to us on the Facebook page, Bridge the Vote, where we'll be sharing information about the general elections happening here in Trenton, as well as politics in New Jersey. Until we meet again, I'm Jacque Howard, and remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.